welcome to the CGTN Roundtable. I'm Huang Fei, and we're coming to you live from our studio here at the China International Consumers Products Expo in Hainan province. And today's episode is all about Swiss companies. Switzerland was the guest country of honor for the very first edition of the Hainan Expo 3 years ago, and they're backed by popular demand, bringing 45 brands from 15 countries. And we're very pleased to have 3 companies with us today, and let me introduce them. We have Gilles Denerche from La Pouleuse, which is a biotech cosmetics company. Also, nice to meet you as well. And we also have Brigitte Huang from natural skincare brand Veleda, and we also have Rachel Zhang from pharmaceutical company Dr. Wild. Now, welcome to you all. Skincare and wellness obviously is the theme today, and it's a multi-billion-dollar market in China, a very important sector to focus on. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of everything, let's just talk about how we feel. You know, at this event, this is the second last day of the week-long event. We're surrounded by people today. How do you feel so far? First of all, Rachel.
Yeah, impressive. We were there last year, and we feel this time at least people who visit our booth is like double or triple. So yeah, we feel like next year we probably need to bring more people to take care of the business here.
Sure. Yeah. And Brigitte, this is your 3rd time here.
Yeah, this is the 3rd time. So we were lucky. So for the first time, we have been there, and this is the 3rd time. So my impression actually is true. So because although for the first time it was very impressive for us as well, so it was a lot of visitors. But this year, after the COVID, I feel it's more about that I feel the spirit of the people around us, that they are more relaxed and they have more joy and they have more excitement. So,
yeah. And Gilles, this is your first time at the Hainan
this is my
Expo.
first time, exactly. This is the first edition for us, so this is the first time that we ever exhibit our products, La Pouleuse products, at the Expo, and I feel it's a great Expo. It's a wonderful adventure. We've met very interesting people. We've met very new, interesting contacts of new prospects, and I believe this will be very good business opportunities for our company, for the brand, and we will surely be back next year. This was a very good experience so far.
That's great to hear, and Chinese consumers, you know, are expected to lift the recovery of global spending, especially in premium products. I wonder what your forecast for growth this year would be, Rachel.
Actually, during pandemic, our turnover is growing like 10% every year. So yes, since COVID is over, we expect the growth could be bigger, maybe 15 to 20%, because in the exhibition we already feel the difference. People are passionate about to buy something that they haven't seen before. They're willing to try new stuff. So for us, we think it's quite a positive message for us.
Lovely. And then Veleda also sort of experiencing the same excitement for growth as well, Brigitte?
I think for sure. So because Veleda have entered the Chinese market through cross-border e-commerce since 1915. So this is the 8th years. I think every year we achieve more than 20% of the growth rate. So even like for the past 3 years, under the very challenging situation of COVID, so we also achieved, like last year, we also achieved more than 20% of the growth. I think that's very interesting to see that we have the confidence in Chinese market, even under the very challenging situation that the people still want to pamper themselves and then want to make their life out of the good after the bad. So I think that's very impressive for us. Yeah.
Are you seeing the same thing as well, Gilles? That the people are, you know, putting in, you know, investing in wellness and beauty, despite that, I guess elsewhere in the world, you know, we're seeing reports of people tightening their purse strings in Europe and America due to high inflation and, you know, cost of living crisis. But here in China, I do hear that, you know, from multiple brands that doesn't seem to be a problem. Yeah, people are ready to spend, they're ready to pamper yourself, like Brigitte says.
Basically, I think that the great thing that Chinese people are traveling again, and they start enjoying life, and they like they pay more attention to the quality of life, and I believe also that they start caring more about the product's benefits and the product's quality rather than just the brand reputation, which has been the case for many decades actually. So there's a change in mentality in a way that people start taking facts really seriously, just like rather than just before sticking to famous brands. So this gives us a very good opportunities actually for middle-sized companies, for smaller brands, not so famous, and the Chinese people are ready to taste, ready to give it a try.
That's very interesting. And you mentioned sort of a mindset change. I wonder what new consumer trends or behaviors are you noticing in the last few years, Rachel?
Yeah, like during pandemic, health is the biggest topic people are talking about. That's where we provide toothpaste. So it's also related with healthcare. And people nowadays in China take care of teeth more than ever. That's our feeling. Before, I think people are more care about whitening, make you look good. But now people are more aware about if my gum is healthy, if my teeth is a little bit sensitive, does it gonna last very long? How can I solve this problem? So yeah, I think people are more aware about their health. And for us, it's very positive news. Yeah.
I see. And are you seeing the same thing, Bridget?
Yeah.
Different trends emerging?
I think the trend, yes. I think the trend is naturally developing because if we see the history of Voleda, so back to 100 years ago when the company was built, so it has the slogan, for example, to say, live in harmony with nature and the human being. I think it was some change maybe in the past many years, but at the end we see that the human being, we have the same needs. So at the end of the day, we learn from the situation, we learn from the nature that I think after this pandemic, I think people really take this opportunity to meditate and to retreat, and also to have some moment to think about what's going on with their relationship with nature. I think that's a very good opportunity for Voleda because Voleda has been very active and very strong in this segment as well. So Voleda has biodynamic farming in their garden. So Voleda have more than 50 projects in the whole world for biodynamic agriculture. So I think that's a very good opportunity for us to promote the brand. So because it's really adapt to the current trend, and now, and I also think for the future. Yeah.
And speaking of gardens, Gilles, you have a lot of experience in that as well. You guys have a big garden, as you said.
Yes, actually, as Bridget was saying, the return to nature after the pandemic is also very important, and we can see this trend on the Chinese market. Consumers are taking care more and more about natural products and natural ingredients. As in Europe, lots of people buying skincare products, they will check the packaging, they will turn it around and check what are the ingredients in there. And then we can see the Chinese people are doing so now. They're caring about what do I buy, is it natural enough? And the chance that we have is that our brand, La Pouloves, is a fine combination between high tech and plant ingredients. We make our own plant extracts. So this is why we have like a huge garden behind our factory, and so we cultivate our own plants, and then we use those plants to produce our extracts, entirely purely natural extracts, plant extracts, which is also our way to go back to nature, to offer this nature to our consumers.
I see. And in terms of high tech, right, we are increasingly seeing a lot of homegrown Chinese brands also going into that space. Bloomage, which is also another big exhibitor here at the Expo, is another big player in the skincare, biotech skincare space. You know, they're making almost $1 billion a year in revenues, and they're spending 5% of their revenues and research and development. There are other companies that are going for IPOs. They're certainly doing quite well with their biotech infused with natural ingredients into their skincare products. So it is becoming quite a crowded space in China with competition from homegrown brands. How do Swiss companies stay competitive, do you think?
I think it's about the brand position. Because Dr. Wild is a high-end product, not only in China but also in Switzerland. So they only sell in pharmaceutical shops or dental clinics. So in China, we also position ourselves as a professional brand. So we also sell a lot through dental clinics, and also in China we also sell in like SKP shopping mall, and also work with high-end KOLs. So I think brushing teeth is a thing that everybody gonna do it at least twice per day. I think it's okay. People can choose this and that, no problem. So the market for us is big enough, so it doesn't have to take 10% or 20%. For us, even like 0.01% is enough. So we just position ourselves as a professional and a premium product, and provide our value to the people that really appreciate of our product. That's enough.
What about you, Bridget? How do we stay ahead of the curves and break through the noise?
I think, one thing we can say, this is noise, but I fully with Rachel. I think, for one hand, so if we think about the brand, then we think about competition, right? But when we think about the trend or industry itself, that there will be really good, there will be more company to join in to do it together to promote such a wonderful trend. And because I think every company have their own strategy and have their own strengths. So I think, for example, Weleda have the strength is that they know very well. So for accumulating for 100 years of this understanding about the nature, the plant, and also they have a very strong laboratory. And then I think all these knowledge, I think, of course, we welcome any competitors, one hand, because that is really good for the whole world. But, and then I think competition really encourage people to have more creativity. But therefore, I think for Weleda itself, they are really confident enough to welcome the challenge or the competition. But at the same time, of course, as Weleda itself, so they understand themselves, and then they also move ahead to improve themselves in a good way.
I see. So competition is a positive driver of innovation. Do you agree, Gilles?
Yes, indeed. I would say in our case for Lapulabs Cosmetics, we need both R&D, because R&D is an important part of our, we spend like each year we'll use like 10% of our turnover in R&D. But the most important is the target. So the aim of those is not just to make products or invent products for fun. We need to suit the market, and marketing is important. This is a second important thing. So I would say marketing is what will allow us to sell our products successfully. So one of the key aspects for us is to understand what the people need in terms of skincare. So we need to sit down, listen to our customers, understand what the consumers need, and do our best to achieve this. And to do this, I would say, in our industry, in the skincare, is to be flexible. Because so we do R&D because we have different skins, we have different people with different needs, and we need to understand these needs to be able to face up and to make the difference. So I would say understanding our customers and consumers, and then durability to constant effort, because Rome was not only one day, so it takes time to brand an image. And also we need continuous improvement, because what we do now sometimes is good, sometimes is right. So marketing strategy is changing. We have to adapt, fine-tuning our strategy year by year, month by month, week by week, to make it successful. So this is the way we operate.
Yeah, and you mentioned a lot of interesting points when it comes to digital marketing and understanding the customers, and also the use of KOLs. You mentioned that, Rachel. Are you all quite active on e-commerce sites and using influencers and things like that? What are we doing to sort of speak directly to the Chinese customers, do you think?
Yeah, at the beginning when Dr. Well entered the Chinese market, we contacted with the dentist first. And the first 3 years, we only sell through dental clinics. But the business growing quite slowly, to be honest. And then we think about why not just start our own e-commerce business, like open a Tmall shop, JD shop. Then we start to do it. But after 3 years planning of these platforms, business grow much faster than before. So now we also have our own shops in Douyin, Little Red Book, even Pinduoduo. So just take up all the positions in all kind of platforms. And not only have our own shop, we also supply to other KOLs, for example. Like in Taobao, they also have their individual shops. So we also supply our product to them and train them what is the advantage of our product. Just working with a lot of KOLs, it's quite fun. So it's also a way for us to expand our influence in internet. So for me, I think e-commerce is really picking up business in China, and we should take this as an opportunity to marketing our brand.
And it's an art to speak to the consumers, isn't it? You know, again, it's a crowded space. Everybody's talking. Lots of influencers. But you know, it's about storytelling, as you said. How do we do that? You know, in an elegant but effective way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we could talk a little bit more about challenges in doing business in China. First of all, as you sort of size up as you were sizing up your competition here, is there anything, or talking to consumers here, were there anything that sort of surprised you, or you know, that made you think, oh, maybe we should do it this way, you know, over the last few years? Over the last few days at this expo? Or are you getting any interesting inspirations from attending this event?
I feel like before pandemic, people are buying things by searching what they want. And during pandemic, like a lot of new things coming out on the internet. For example, group buying thing is also a trendy phenomenon in China. So we were thinking how to use this opportunity to put our product in these channels. So I feel nowadays people are buying things that what other people offer. So this is a bit different. So one way is like passive, and another way is like okay, I want to make the initiative. So this is different way of marketing. Also here, in the exhibition also feel like that. Before, people come here with a purpose, like, oh, I want to buy a toothpaste. That's why I go to this exhibition. But now people come over trying to see who are going to introduce me more interesting product, then I will buy. So I think it's just different way of marketing nowadays. We feel our team need to be more active by offering our product to the end consumers.
So you have to be way more proactive or even aggressive.
That's right, because we understand that they are more flexible, they are very spontaneous. So this is also exactly what I felt. People are getting more spontaneous, and because of the pandemic last year, everybody was watching their phone and buying and checking online what was available. But now people are going around and checking the product and tasting the product. This is very important. This is a completely different.
Do you think brick and mortar is here to stay? Obviously, there was a big push into the digital space during the pandemic because we had no choice. But now, people are out in droves, as you can see, and we're hearing from a lot of brands at this expo that they're actually expanding their physical presence in China and Hainan, and planning more shops and things like that. Do you think physical presence is crucial?
Yeah, I think so. So, for example, like Valeda is quite special. Because for imported cosmetic in entering China, so it requires a registration, and then the registration required also the annual testing until last year, and therefore Valeda, they could not really enter this brick and mortar business. Then since, but of course, thanks to this creativity of this cross-border e-commerce, then Valeda entered China under this channel, but we try to take any opportunity like the Hainan Expo to reach out to the consumers, and then we can talk to them in person and share with them our product, and then they can also test our product. Then we can really collect information from the consumer themselves instead of just doing online, which we have to. But I think during these 3 times participating in the Hainan Expo, we did have the confidence that if one day, maybe next year, after we pass all these registration without animal testing, because China has just changed the testing method since last year. So I think we should be able to open also the store back. Of course, I think the first stop will be in Hainan.
Sure.
Yeah.
So navigating regulations, that may be a big challenge for a lot of companies. I wonder if you feel the same, Gilles, when it comes to doing business in China.
Indeed, the stores is a very important thing. Our products need to be displayed, and the people need to come over and check it, taste it, and feel it. We're talking about the texture, we're talking about skincare, the color. All the things are very important for consumers, and they cannot do this online. So I would say combining offline and online together, it's very important. People need to show displays, and we need to display what we have, what we sell. Another thing is Hainan, I believe it's a great place, not just for building stores, but also because we are discovering the duty-free channel. So in our case, for La Poular's products, we've been in China for quite a long time, for more than 5 years, but we haven't been experienced the duty-free segment. So Hainan will give us a wonderful opportunity to enter this segment for us. So we believe this will be a very interactive market.
I see. So you mentioned the duty-free segment, important. Hainan going to have its own customs system, independent customs system, separate from the mainland. I wonder what opportunities will that mean for your company, Rachel?
Yeah, we already contact several duty-free shops in Hainan. I think there's 2 shops already have our products, but we wish we can expand more. One in Haikou and several in Sanya. I feel Hainan attract more and more visitors come here, and we start our tax-free shop cooperation in June last year, and I feel every month the turnover is growing, especially during Chinese Spring Festival. So that would be a big event for a lot of people who come here to buy product in tax-free shop. So yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for us as well.
Sure. I think I read that Hainan could soon overtake South Korea to become the world's first biggest duty-free market. So this is a big opportunity, certainly, for a lot of brands. And obviously government officials, policymakers are doing a lot to speak to companies like yourselves to help them establish their presence here if they want to. So I guess they will also be quite interested in hearing what challenges you may have encountered in doing business here, and perhaps things that they could help with. Are there any? What would you say are the main challenges of doing business in China?
In China, I would say logistics is an important point of view, going back to Hainan Island as well. So far we have warehouses split around the country, and we're also concerned about how to ship to other Asian countries. And Hainan could give us a wonderful opportunity after 2025. Our plan, La Poular's plan with our cosmetics, is to centralize our warehouse into one point. From Hainan, we could ship to mainland China. We could also ship to other Asian countries around, like Malaysia, Singapore, which are also very valuable markets for us. So I think Hainan will give us the opportunity to have better warehousing facilities, which we have now also in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is also a very important hub, but it's expensive, actually, storage and shipping fees. It's all very expensive for our budget, for our cosmetics. So I think Hainan will give us, considering the local labor force considering the tax incentives planned by the Chinese government, this would be a very good opportunity, very helpful to us.
And Rachel, do you have anything to add when it comes to challenges in doing business here, or things that you hope policymakers can help you on?
Challenges, I don't know, every business have their own challenges, but when we see Hainan is more opening up, we see this as an opportunity, because China for Dr. Wild now is the biggest market now. So I think it's going to keep growing. One of the problems for Dr. Wild like being expensive is because of packaging cost is very high in Switzerland. So if it's going to opening up more in Hainan, we will probably suggest Dr. Wild to set up some filling part of the manufacture in China. So we will probably also ship from Hainan to other Asian markets. And it's definitely benefit for Chinese markets can get more affordable toothpaste, because the cost will reduce a lot if we do packaging and filling here.
I see. Are you also thinking about logistics on that front as well? Shipping from using Hainan free trade port?
I think to be honest, I share with you this reason. I even want to ask you, so do you see that maybe Hainan is a bit too warm for the storage, things like that? But anyway, I think the situation will change. But we have been testing the Hainan market since about 3 years, and it's still challenging at this moment. But I think situation will change, and after time. But what later may have a bigger goal in Hainan is that because of Malaysia have a very rich experience in the biodynamic farming and planning. So I think back in Germany, so Malaysia have the biggest organic garden in Europe. So our goal is that, so how to set up a place that to help people to learn about plant and learn about the nature and with human being. So with that, of course, that we try to take the market. It's the same as the philosophy from Malaysia is that we don't just take from the nature, but we also want to give it back. So we want to live together with the nature, but instead of just we think nature is a provider. So therefore, I think Hainan, after the 2025, Hainan will be a very good at least a very good testing spot for us to see if that target will be possible. So, yeah.
And certainly, I imagine being part of the national pavilion will, helps you as individual brands to speak to customers, because I feel like it adds a lot of credibility, prestige to the brand itself. There are so many different stores here and customers. I feel like that's something that Chinese consumers respond to. How do you feel about, being part of sort of a national delegation, almost representing Switzerland in this expo? I guess you were here for the first year when Switzerland was the guest country of honor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How did that impact your interactions with brands or even with the media? Did you feel that this was very useful exposure, that sort of adds exposure and credentials?
Yeah, I think for us, for example, we have experience in the past before we participate in Hainan Expo. We have our own booth, for example, like the Import Expo in Shanghai. I think there's two directions we want to do. One hand is Switzerland is a rather small country, and then we think we are small and medium-sized companies should bond together, and then to really support the country image. And then of course we benefit from that as well, that people understand where we come from and what this country presenting. That's one very important part. And another important part, of course, I think Swiss Embassy is very active, supporting a small-sized, medium-sized company as well. And therefore, I think for the first participation organized by the Swiss Pavilion, I already have that very good impression. Therefore, we decided to continue.
I see. Are you going to come again? This is your first time. Is there going to be a second and third and more times coming to that?
Yes, definitely. I will come again, and I think it was a very richful experience. And coming back to what Bridget was saying, I think also that the Swiss authorities are very nice, very helpful. They're very helpful to bring assistance to small size, medium sized companies, but also they are dealing with very big enterprises. So whatever the customers, they do care about our enterprise in the pavilion, and it's also they give us identity. So I really appreciated this chance that was given by the Swiss pavilion to us. And even if I just said there's a competition around, it's a very competitive world. Still, the market is big, and it's always very good to have our own identity like Swiss.
Yeah, I feel really the same because usually before we only go to like dental exhibitions, so where everyone are competitors basically, so the interaction are very small. And since we are in a Swiss pavilion, right, and we learn from each other, we exchange a lot of like marketing skills, like which KOLs they contact with, how much is the turnover, maybe we can also use this, and also the way they show their Swiss image. I also learn a lot from them. So I think the Swiss pavilion gather everybody from different industry together, and we both benefit. Everybody benefit from each other.
And many some Chinese people happen not to be very familiar with Switzerland. Switzerland is such a small country compared to China, which is so big. So it takes time sometimes to make them familiar, to make understand about our country, about Switzerland. And I would say it's important to. Sometimes they have the image that products coming from Switzerland are very expensive, which is true sometimes. When you go to Switzerland traveling, you want to buy some chocolate or whatever, it's quite expensive. But not all products are expensive. Some products are expensive for reasons, and also Lapulov's cosmetics, our purpose in skincare is to make affordable products to everybody, to eat every type of budget. So we want to make the consumers to understand about Switzerland and understand about our point of view. It's not just buying Swiss products, selling Swiss products to rich people.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that's really fits so well with the philosophy of Weleda. I think sometimes I really think the wisdom of human beings are really forever. So, for example, back in when this Rudolf Steiner, the founder of Weleda, when they built the company in 1921, so he said he wanted to produce the product with the highest quality. Therefore, we have the GMP manufacturing standard as well. But we want to provide this affordable price that therefore the public can afford it, instead of that, so then only rich people can afford it. I think that's really I think this is really the ethical value that a lot of Swiss company they are carrying at this moment. I think back many years ago, but at this moment also this trend is getting popular.
Yeah, fantastic. Premium products, luxury, affordable luxury for the everyday consumer. I mean, it's interesting for me as well. You know, you see actually even kids here. This expo, families coming here, taking their children, taking their grandparents to sort of enjoy and explore different brands. So, you know, I'm sure the conversations are going to continue, and I really appreciate you guys for coming in to share your thoughts on the consumer trends in China. And that pretty much sort of wraps up our series of roundtables this year. For over the course of this week, we've had discussions featuring RCEP countries. We've talked to Italy, which is the guest host of this year, and followed by France, another leader in premium brands, and last but not least, Switzerland, sort of the OG of the Hainan Expo. So thank you, Jules, Bridget, and Rachel for coming on the show.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, and hope you enjoyed the discussions as much as I have. And until then, bye for now.